Hi everyone. This is going to be our quick video for the Lesson 2 demonstration in case you missed it in class. So, the equipment that we're using today are a pair of tongs to help us move hot equipment, take things in and out of hot solutions, beakers, and flask. So our beaker looks more like a cup, and this contains water. This flask is rounder, and this contains our sodium hydroxide, so those hold our liquids. And then we also have our hot plate here to heat our solutions. Right now it is set to about 6. For safety equipment, I am currently wearing a pair of goggles. And if needed, I will put on a pair of gloves to handle some of the materials. Now we're going to start with some observations of our starting materials. The pennies is already filled in for you on the data sheet. But if we look closer, we can see that our pennies are shiny. One second, I apologize. They are shiny and brown or copper in color. Our zinc that we have heating in the solution is a dull grayish silver piece of metal, and it looks a little powdery and brittle. Our 3 molar sodium hydroxide, which we have in this Florence flask here, is a clear, colorless liquid. Remember, clear is a descriptor, not a color. And then in our beaker, we have some tap water, which is also clear and colorless. This is why it is important for us to label and read all of our equipment and solutions. So, for some safety things that we can consider for this is the hot plate is going to make a boiling hot caustic solution. The fumes that it gives off are not great for us to inhale, which is why I'm wearing safety goggles, and to prevent anything from splashing into my eyes. So let's get into the procedure here. You're going to watch it, and then you're going to write down observations about each portion of the procedure. I just need to move a couple things into focus here. So to start with, we have our zinc in the sodium hydroxide solution. So we can see as it sits in there, the zinc goes from being a dull gray to almost a blackish gray. And if you zoom in and focus in like this little section here on these rocks, you will notice, sorry, not rocks, a piece of zinc, you should see some bubbles forming. Now, as this heats up, I'm going to remove the watch glass from the top and carefully add our pennies into the solution. So this is step 2. We're going to add the pennies, and we're going to watch what happens to them. Now, the hotter this solution is, the quicker the process occurs. I'm going to use my tongs to put the watch glass back on top. So we're just going to sit and watch this for a couple of minutes. As this happens, think about what you can write down for your observations. Paying specific attention to the pennies that are in solution. All right, I'm not going to speed this up so that there's no tricks of the camera. I'm just going to take a minute and watch. This is the excitement of science. Turn the beaker a little. All right, and again, make note of what you think you see happening in there. It might be a subtle change over time. It might be a rapid change. Let's look at the pennies on the other side. This one we can see it a little better. But the pennies appear to be starting to change color, going from a copper color to a more silver color. As these pennies are reacting, I'm going to get my beaker and set it to the side of cool water to put the pennies in for step 3. So what you want to write down for step 2 is that you notice the pennies are starting to change color. All right, as those are still reacting, I'm going to take one out so we can check on it. Give that a quick rinse. All right, and we can see here that the penny is becoming more silver in color. Put our watch glass back on. Again, once this reaction starts happening more rapidly, or this change, we'll see some more bubbles forming within the beaker. All right, we're going to carefully remove the watch glass using our tongs. We're going to give the other pennies in there a quick turn. And actually, start taking them out to rinse them. Right, you can see that penny on the front very well. Has turned a nice silver color. So I'm going to remove the beaker real quick so we can try and get a better view. Of one of the pennies. All right, we can see the penny has turned silver in color, so we're going to give that a quick rinse. So that was step 3, and now we're going to do step 4, where we place the pennies on the hot plate from the bath, and we're going to write down any observations for what we see or notice happening. So we had some bubbling from the water being driven off, and if you look closely here, you can see a change starting to occur on the penny. I'm going to give that a quick flip. All right, and now we're going to give them a quick dip into the water. Turn off our hot plate and carefully set it aside. And now that our pennies have cooled, we're going to observe them real quick. We're going to give them a quick dry. And then we'll zoom in. And focus. Give the light a second to balance out. And we can see that our pennies have become much shinier and have taken on a golden color. So now that this is done, you can go ahead and answer the questions on the remainder of the lab sheet.